This is your weekly YouTube channel audit livestream. All you need to do is use the correct link in the description, fill out the form, and we'll consider your channel for review. That's right, channel reviews are free, but you can send us a super chat and watch us discuss your question live on air. If you submit your channel for review, expect the following. We will share with you our knowledge, experience, and passion as fellow YouTube creators. I want to give a massive shout out and thanks to our moderators who do an awesome job every single live stream. And that's your onboarding done. What channels have you brought us this week? Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the night, wherever you are in the world. We join you in the YouTube world for vidIQ's Tuesday channel audit live streams with your host, with your absolute least. My name is Rob, and I will be guiding you through the next 90 minutes of conversation that will involve some of your channels as we scrutinize them for what you're doing well, what you could constructively do a little bit better, and what hilariously you were doing bad, but what we've also done ourselves as content creators. You make a difference. You impact people's lives. You motivate, inspire, entertain, and make people laugh. And we will try and do the same this week as we always do. And I cannot do this with my very demure co-host this week, Dan. Hello, welcome to the live stream. How are you?
Good. About 50% of the time where you bring me on, you try and say, I cannot do this without, but instead you say, I cannot do this with. And it's always really funny to me.
do I really do that?
It's about half the time. Yeah, I cannot do this with this co-host. He's awful. You know, his hair looks stupid. I hate his beard. It's Dan.
That must be a very intentional Freudian slip. Can somebody please clip that and send us to it? Because I find that hilarious if I'm saying that. But seriously, Dan, I could not do this live stream without your guidance, especially when it comes to video games, which we may be talking about a little bit later, since in the last couple of hours there's been a pretty big thing happen video game wise, but we'll leave that as a teaser, like build attention until we get there, at which point we'll tell you and you'll all abandon the live stream to find out what's going on. But in the meantime, Dan, should we just jump into channel audits? Like, let's no fluff, no preamble. Let's just do some channels, shall we?
Yeah. Someone just commented that I have a really big mug. Fun story. This used to be coffee when I did this, when I first started. And my throat would always hurt real bad afterwards. And I'm like, why? I thought nice, soothing, warm coffee would be good. It was always like decaf half the time, too, because it's too much coffee. But now it's ice water, because literally that is why my throat was hurting, because I was wearing it out with coffee, and ice water is way better.
It is interesting you say that, because when I first started doing live streams here at vidIQ, which was almost 8 years ago, we did the channel audits on a Tuesday and just a casual Q&A on a Friday. My throat was getting so hoarse, and this was like just me doing it by myself. And I was trying to remind myself, and I would ask the audience to remind me to like hydrate. And so now, obviously sponsored by ourselves, we now make sure we hydrate with ASMR as well.
Oh, okay.
And apparently we get some comments on videos when I do that, and people hate it, which only encourages me to do it even more. With that side quest preamble aside, let's actually now audit some channels. And what we do is always audit the first channel that's submitted to the forms that hasn't been audited before. So Dan, I present to you the channel that is Mr. Isa. I think Isa. Looks quite familiar in terms of their branding. Let's find out a little bit more about them. They tell us that their goal of the YouTube channel is to meet James Stephen Donaldson. And I had to read that 3 times before I realized they were talking about Mr. Beast, a.k.a. Jimmy Donaldson, a.k.a. James, I presume. I didn't know his surname was Stephen. He wants to get 4,000 hours of watch time as the biggest obstacle, presumably working towards monetization there. And the part of the channel they want us to focus on is how to increase audience retention. So I think given that request, maybe we just sidestep the nature of the content, down which we think is obviously a Mr. Beast fan channel, and watch one of these videos just to critique the hook and that type of thing. Like, do you have a video you would like me to choose? Maybe not the most recent one, because that I think is a little bit of a departure from what they've been doing around about Mr. Beast, but anything else?
I think the $1 versus $1 million swimming pool. I would like to see how a channel with, I assume, not as big of a budget as Mr. Beast pulls that off.
Okay, that's going to be another gaming video.
What about okay, that's the next. Okay, those 3 videos are Minecraft. What about down? If you scroll down a little bit, is it a gaming channel? I survived 7 days in Minecraft.
Into that I think we need to get into that conversation as well, Dan.
Okay, all right.
I just want to watch a video.
Okay, pick anything then. I was trying not to do Minecraft.
Right, we'll do. Like... I built a 400 million play button thingy-majig.
Okay.
This is Mr. Beast, the biggest YouTuber in the entire world, sitting at almost 400 million subscribers. And in this video, I'm going to be building the world's largest custom YouTube play button ever known to mankind in Minecraft. But first, I need to give you guys a small history lesson on why I started this journey.
I'm going to pause it right there. What do we think of that? I think very clear hook.
Yeah, I really like the charisma going on. I think that the video's goal is like clearly laid out. I like the storytelling tactics that they're using as well. Yeah. I think I wasn't expecting them to take a video about building a play button in Minecraft and say, but before we do that, we need to go back to the beginning, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm pleasantly surprised by what I'm seeing.
There was some fundamental storytelling techniques there, which I thought were very powerful. I think this blurred out final product thing in Minecraft, it looks to be, in my opinion, was very effective as well. And as you say that, but first, they've clearly been watching YouTube education videos that recommend this as a common technique and trope. And I think they've done that very effectively. And I think the editing is pretty solid as well, with the music and the fast-pacedness. And I think it would relate to a lot of the audience that are fans of Mr. Beast. So in my opinion, in terms of retention, like, this is pretty much spot on for where you are in your YouTube journey. Can't really argue with it.
Yeah.
Do we want to watch a little bit more of this, or should we get then into the...
let's get into the meat and potatoes.
Of a video or the channel?
Oh, of the channel. Unless there's more you wanted to try and pick up.
No, that's fine. I think what we're basically saying there is that we've addressed this question and say, hey, you have a good hook. Yeah, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the approach and execution of your videos. Let's now talk about the strategy of the channel itself, which has now hit 1,000 subscribers, which is awesome to see. What were the thoughts then as we were going through the channel? We already spotted a few things, but we haven't really dived into them yet.
Yeah, okay, so when I saw the channel pop up, I saw the avatar and everything, I was going to go into this being kind of critical. Like, just, I was going to talk about branding and how it's really important for you to establish your own brand.
Yeah.
You called this channel a Mr. Beast fan channel, which I think may or may not be a compliment depending on the type of creator, right? Maybe you're like, well, no, I'm my own creator. My goal is to meet Mr. Beast, but I'm not a Mr. Beast fan channel. I make my own videos. But given that video we just saw, maybe they would like to be classified as that. So I think it really depends on them at the end of the day, how they want to proceed. If they don't like being classified as Mr. Beast fan channel, then some big changes need to be made. But if they are like, nope, that is me. That is exactly what I'm going for, then they're doing a pretty decent job.
I think they're certainly learning a lot of skills and techniques.
Yes.
As a content creator, as you say, maybe in a year's time or like 6 months' time or whatever, they may want to pivot, like talk to a new audience. I think they'll certainly have a lot of skills gained from this to start a new channel and do that. But like in the meantime, this seems like a really good sandbox for them to play in.
Yeah. And I will say that even as time goes on, if you decide to go ahead and change your branding and make some changes, like the skills that this creator is picking up by emulating their favorite creator in certain ways are invaluable. Like we said, the storytelling going on in the video we watched is pretty awesome. We've not seen a lot of like younger creators and newer creators dive into that kind of level of hook and storytelling.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
Usually when we watch a video, that's the advice we're giving is like, hey, what if you did these things to kind of tease a curiosity loop and kind of get people invested in getting to the end of the video? And it all of that is on display. I think this is a person who is actually really studying YouTube very, very carefully. And I don't necessarily agree with like using Mr. Beast's logo and adjusting it in Photoshop a little bit. I would still like to see their own branding eventually, but even as a fan channel, I think that you could still have your own kind of aesthetic. But that's not, I wouldn't say that's the urgent like problem here. I think it's just the matter of making more content and continuing to refine your craft overall, which is, I would say at this point, very strong already.
Sure. Last thing I want to draw your attention to, Dan, here is they say this is an entertainment channel, not a gaming channel, right? I will play you the most recent video and let me, and you and the rest of the vidIQ crew here, let us know what you think if this is actually a gaming channel or not. Okay, I'll bring this one back to the beginning.
I just bought some of the rarest cars that have ever been made in the history of mankind. And we're gonna be driving all of these cars at lightning fast speeds. But before we can risk crashing this $3 million hypercar, we gotta start all the way at the bottom of the ladder. This is a Mars Minor 1000 from 1953. I know, interesting naming, but that's not relevant here. But you might be wondering, isn't this a $20,000 car? Yes it is. Then why is the title so misleading? You will find that out soon. So
pause there. Again, what do we think?
Again, really good intro and storytelling.
Yeah,
they're
I agree.
Really
I agree.
That's the playbook right there. You are a gaming channel, though. I'm sorry to say.
All right.
The stakes, if these were real cars, the stakes would be incredibly high. But because it's a game, the stakes are not as high because you didn't pay $3 million for anything. You paid whatever the game cost. So you are a gaming channel, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And the reason I'm being so direct with you about that is because that is the audience at the end of the day you are going to be catering to, because you are playing video games and doing your challenges in video games. Now, is that bad? No, I wouldn't say that at all. I think that for a gaming channel playing Minecraft and things like that, getting hundreds of views, 1,000 subscribers, you're doing a lot of really good work. I would embrace the gaming side. Mr. Beast has a gaming channel, and there's plenty of tactics you can take from that channel if that's your inspiration and apply those to your gaming videos. But saying that you're not a gaming channel is, I would say, more misleading than that $1 thing, the joke you just made about the car. Because if I'm going to watch this video, it's because I'm interested in the game you're playing and how you're playing it. That's just, end of the day, that's my take on it. You don't have to agree with me, but that's what I have to say about it.
I think, Dan, that this channel in, let's say, 1, 2, 3 years' time, well, maybe not this channel, but this creator is going to have a significant presence on YouTube.
I agree.
Whether it is as a gaming channel or a Mr. Beast fan channel, they have so many fundamentals of creating content nailed down already that I think what they need to ultimately do is find their own unique voice and path. Like, it is fantastic you're taking the idea of a $1 car versus a $3 million car, and you're merging it inside, I guess, Forza Horizon or another driving game to make it accessible to you because you don't have access to those cars. Again, that's really ingenious. It's probably not going to be a big pull for the audience, as Dan's already explained, because there's not necessarily any stakes there. But I still applaud the idea and the enthusiasm and the passion. And I just think eventually they're just going to figure out how they can take all of these attributes that they're taking from education channels and from Mr. Beast and elsewhere and put it into something that's uniquely them. Then that is like the chef's kiss. That's where they're going to have their viral moments. And it's just a matter of time if they keep working at it as they are. I don't think monetization is a problem or anything. That's all going to come eventually.
I will say one last thing. If this creator embraces being a gaming channel, it can adjust the way you consider challenges in the future. For example, building Mr. Beast the 400 million play button in Minecraft is a solid challenge because that would take you a lot of time. But crashing expensive cars in the video game, in my opinion, is a better title for real life than it is for a video game. Because it's a video game, the stakes, like I said, are very low because obviously getting that car is not that difficult, right? I don't know. I don't know the game. Maybe it's really difficult, but I would emphasize that then. But if you really frame your mind as, okay, I'm doing a gaming challenge, what would impress people? $1 versus $1 million swimming pool sounds like a building challenge, which sounds really cool. It sounds like you could show off really impressive builds. Hiking Minecraft's Deadliest Mountain, though, it's just kind of jumping up a hill in Minecraft is what it sounds like to me as someone who's played the game. So this is how I would be thinking about my titles and hooks and everything like that, because I'd be thinking in a gaming channel sense, but you are thinking in, I'm going to pitch this as real life, but really it's in a game. So it will change the way you get views after you do that. And I think for the positive, I think in a good way, I think people will watch more because it's more genuine.
The ding there, by the way, was I was agreeing with the vidIQ.
Me off.
No, I was agreeing with a vidIQ overlord there who was saying that the films were really nice as well. I agree. Yeah. Like the packaging is cool as well. Let's move on to what we definitely know is, or they consider themselves as, a gaming channel now. And that is the first gaming channel that's submitted from the forums. And they're called Retired Gaming. Oh. So this is a Fortnite character with a tire as a face. Cool. Whatever floats your Fortnite boat, I suppose. They tell us that the goal of a YouTube channel is to become better and more confident at video editing and producing, learning skills that can also help my son's YouTube channel and grow. So that's cool. Doing something with your kid, a hobby and passion that you can share together. I think that is awesome. What do you think is the biggest YouTube obstacle right now? Finding the right audience for such a specific niche. I guess we'll try and work out what our niche is. What part of a channel would they like us to focus on? The appeal and reach of a channel, and how to get a good hook to retain a viewer who clicks on the video. All right, Dan. So they don't have much yet in terms of long form videos, shorts as well, less than 10 each on both formats. Fortnite, very competitive. We can see that they have some currently bog standard, this is where I'm at as a gaming channel with only a few videos. They'll get a dozen views. One of them's broke 100 views. One of them's broke 2,000 views, and that was 5 days ago. That's really encouraging. However, I guess maybe what we should try and work out here is, what do we think the niche is, first of all, for this channel? Any ideas other than Fortnite? Is it like a news updates or tutorials?
It looks like they're doing both. It looks like they're doing some news updates, and it looks like they're doing some challenges and things like that. Like Zero Builder Player tries Fortnite ranked build. So they're challenging themselves there to play Fortnite in a way they're not used to, whereas the one before it sounds like they're covering an update or an event going on in the game. So I think they're bouncing between those two kind of types of videos right now.
I think it's worth watching the outlier here to see maybe why this one has been far more successful than the others, and also get an idea of I think they were wanting us to talk about the editing quality and such in their questioning. So let's listen in.
Dudes, how's it going? And welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to be doing a quick look at the new mini event that is actually on the end of Chapter 6 Season 2, just before we go to the Star Wars season. So it's not really a mini event, but it's as close as we're getting this time. There's nothing really that exciting, no amazing cinematics in game or anything that we're used to, but there is a video cinematic that is available in the quests. So let's have a look and see what that is.
Pause there, 30 seconds in.
I like the dialogue. I didn't like the lack of movement on the screen. We're just kind of watching a loading screen. Seems like it would have been a good time to at least put up some like clips from their trailer for this event, if they have that.
Yeah.
It sounds like you were about to get into a cinematic for the event, and I don't play this game, so I don't know if that would be exciting for the audience or not. I'd be more interested in like the rewards and the gameplay. So I don't know if they actually sit down and watch the cinematic. It sounds like that's what they were setting up. But if it wasn't, I'm just going to say, when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, are we about to watch like a cutscene? So yeah, I don't know. I think I just would have changed what was going on the screen for sure. But I can see why it's an outlier. They, like I said, they have some good, solid reasons for being here today. Like, this is what we're going to talk about. There's this event. We're going to play it, so on.
I guess one thing a viewer doesn't want to see when they first click on a video is like a loading screen. It does feel as if the creator literally pressed record and started talking, and there's no editing gone into it after the fact. Dan, you mentioned that maybe you would want to see some highlights from this event of some kind. And, just going back to the channel that we've just audited, the first one, Mr. Issa, who had the teasing reveal of the play button in this one, and like quickly shooting through all of the costs of the cars. There's some things I think that this creator could learn from the first creator, just in terms of building up interest and tension in the first few minutes. Now, why did this video perform better? Maybe it's because it was very timely, and compared to the other videos, because I think this one is 5 minutes, yeah, and then other videos are like in the 20s, 25, 15, 20, maybe there was a desire for the viewer to just get the information quick and efficiently. And maybe when you click into one of these videos, and do you get the same loading screen, perhaps? Kind of feels like it, doesn't it? Like I'm just going to boot up the game and then press record and start. Maybe when a viewer sees this and there's another 15 minutes, they're not as ready to invest that much time. Yeah. That might be a thought as well.
I did the same thing back in the day when I was playing Minecraft on YouTube. I would kind of start my videos on the home screen of Minecraft before I even start the world. I made videos where I just sat on the home screen and babbled for like a long time because I just had stuff to say and I didn't feel like editing anything over it. So it's like easy to do in gaming, and it feels good to just be able to sit down and talk without worrying about that stuff. But I really go back in and like get some visual interest there, especially if you're talking about things that you can attach visuals to. It's just, it's just basic kind of editing stuff. It's going to help your retention. It's going to help people stick around. And that's just the kind of like improvement you can make, I would say, pretty easily without investing in any new gear or anything like that. Mic sounds good. All that stuff is good.
Then final thoughts. I think maybe these two thumbnails are either identical or very similar.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're trying to tell me, other than that these look like maybe AI generated.
Yeah,
potentially.
It looks like one thumbnail and they liked it and like, hey, change this slightly. It doesn't scream Fortnite. And I would say if this is AI, like just be careful when it comes to video games and AI thumbnails, because the thumbnail needs to, with a game especially, a recognizable in like Fortnite, it needs to look like the game. Because if I'm scrolling through YouTube and I see a thumbnail about a game, but it doesn't look like the game, I'm going to keep scrolling, right? Like maybe I'm looking for this video, but it doesn't give me the vibe. Like Mini Event probably does, because that purple crap is probably in the trailer or something, So right, people like, oh yeah, this is the thing I'm trying to look for. But and the loot boxes over on the right there, that is probably,
I thought I was trying to communicate something. I'm not sure what, but at least it had some kind of intrigue into, so this gives me like much better accuracy, this box, than this one. Like at least I'm trying to figure out something of consequence and the value I'm going to get out of it.
Yeah. But those two Zero Builder thumbnails, I would struggle as well to figure out what to put as a thumbnail there, but I think it's still very important that it reminds people of Fortnite.
All right, that is Retired Gaming. You are, of course, still very early on in your YouTube journey, and we encourage you to share this interest and passion with your, I can't remember if it was a son or a daughter. Good luck with their channel as well. I don't know if they've submitted, maybe they'll appear as well later on as we audit. But Dan, as always, we do a little bit of diversion here, and we talk about what's going on in our gaming world or disconnecting from YouTube. So do let us know in the chat, and the vidIQ Overlord, my focus works, the vidIQ Overlord will probably post some of the things that you're playing, or like the hobbies that you're enjoying, that allows you to take a little bit of a breather and prevent yourself from burning out doing YouTube stuff. So Dan, I hand the reins over to you now to tell us about your continuing experiences with a remastered version of Oblivion, if I'm right with that.
Oh, I haven't gotten to play it as much as I want to, which
it's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame. I'm still kind of like working on my retro game collection. So I've been just kind of going through some games. Did I ever talk about this on the stream? I have this little device, and you can use it to actually back up your games, which is, especially for Game Boy, is good because the old cartridges, batteries die, and you can back up your saves with it. And so, yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to play them on modern hardware, and it's games that I own already, which is cool. So yeah, my gaming hobby, that's just kind of like keeping me disconnected from YouTube in a healthy way is good, but stuff like this is also getting more expensive for geopolitical reasons, and that's making it a bummer to do stuff like this too. I'm struggling to keep myself engaged with other things right now. But yeah, so playing some retro games. I want to get back to Oblivion though. So fun.
I am continuing to play Prince of Persia, The Lost Sands, or The Crown of Time, or The Time of Lost Crown Sands. They always have a subtitle that I can't remember. This is like Metroid Castlevania at its purest, and I would say finest. I still think I'm a couple of weeks away from completing that. But I'm also finding some more decent iOS games that require controllers, because that's what I've really got into recently, Dan. And Apple Knight and Apple Knight 2. These are just like 2D pixel platformers. I'm enjoying them as well.
Huh.
But let's be honest, this is all really a preamble, a sideshow to what has happened in the last couple of hours. And that is the release of the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer numero dos. I think this is a peace offering from Rockstar in that we're going to delay the game for another year, but we'll give you a trailer to salivate over. And this already has, as we can see, 10 million views in 2 hours, which is pretty incredible. It already has over 2 million likes and 250,000 comments. And as you can see, I tried to sneak in there. This is something large creators will try and do when there's ever a big release, and they'll try and just post a comment and it just stays at the top of the comments, but mine failed, unfortunately. I'm wondering if I should post a comment every single day saying how many days it is until the release. Just like keep pounding the video. The interesting thing I had down when I first watched this was the view count was broken in the first hour, and it only showed 25,000 views for the first hour, but like the comments and the likes were going up at an astronomical scale.
Yeah.
Do you have any interest in the next Grand Theft Auto?
Of course. Yeah. Of course. I don't think it'll be one that I play on YouTube myself, which is intentional. I think there's certain things that are, like we talked about, disconnecting from YouTube, especially when you play games on YouTube. It's tempting to just play every single thing, but this will probably be a game just for me. But I'm very excited about it.
I was a little underwhelmed by this trailer, if I'm honest. I felt as if it was just showing clips from the first mission, like the cutscenes from the first mission, and then maybe some cutscenes from like the first chapter. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just. I thought the graphics looked amazing. Like for a sandbox game, it looks incredible. But I'm like, I've watched it once or twice. I won't watch it again. I'm cool. My final question to all of you is: given that it has 10.5 million views after 2 hours, do you think it will get more views than trailer number 1 in the first 24 hours, which got 90 million views? What do you think, Dan? And what does everyone else think?
It probably won't. I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah, it probably won't, because the first of anything usually gets more views. And that was like the moment. That was a huge moment. This is like, hey, we're sorry about delaying the game. And then they give us a trailer and it's fine. It's like, cool. I'm sure this trailer will do very well. I'm sure everyone's going to talk about it for a few days. But yeah, I think both of them eventually reach 100 million views. I'll say that. I just don't think, I don't think this breaks a record.
I think recency bias will make everybody think, yeah, this is gonna be so popular and amazing, this trailer. But I think ultimately the first one will be more popular. And just to give you like a bit of an insight strategy, like this is going to be the biggest thing, as Dan mentioned, on YouTube for maybe the next 24 hours, 48 hours. How could you potentially make this a new story for your own channel? And I just want to show you what we try to do to make it like an interesting YouTube story. And I made a very quick short where I just mentioned about how the view count was broken in the first hour and how it hit 1 million likes in the first hour. And then I put a voting poll asking people, do you think it will get more views than trailer number 1 in the first 24 hours? So that's an example of trying to, I guess, trend jump on a topic and turn the story of a gaming release into an interesting YouTube story. And seems to be doing all right. We're 1 of 10 on that short.
Yeah.
So that's just like a quick example of how you can make, I guess, jack into the cultural zeitgeist of the world. I'm sure that there are all sorts of angles you could take on this for whatever type of channel you are. And I think I'll end with that, unless you've got anything else to add, Dan.
No.
All right, then let's audit another channel. And this channel goes by the name of Ulrich the Furball.
Oh, nice.
I think you know what this is going to be about. Let's find a little bit more about this channel. I want to enjoy making content of my dog and hope one day to be able to make money from it. Monetizing pets, that's always a noble ambition. Tried it with Jasper, completely failed. He has no interest. And he cost me a lot of money by eating things he shouldn't and taking him to the vet. What do you think is your biggest obstacle right now? And it's a breakthrough in views. They haven't had their viral moment, they're saying to us. And what part of the channel do you want us to focus on? The performance of my videos. What am I doing wrong? What could I improve? So, Dan, I looked at the short form and long form. They've only got 1 video out in terms of short form. So I think we'll stick to the shorts. They have, at this point, 12 videos, and the view counts are like 1,000 plus on all of them. A couple of outliers, 6,500. One here with 25,000. So how would we assess the beginnings of this channel?
I would say we should compare one of their more regular videos with the outlier video there, just to kind of be able to, I think that'll help us point out why that video might have more views and hopefully get them on track to continue that trajectory.
All right. So I'm going to pick just a regular video here, like the biscuit one, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Next to it. We will have to talk over this because they are using, in a very sort of legal and correct way, copyrighted music because they're using the tools in YouTube which allows them to do that. All right.
Just mute it. Is there,
well, I'll try and put the volume down because I think the music kind of adds to the editing style. But anyway, here is the biscuit.
The biscuit.
So,
okay,
this is Mr. Bean, or a dance version of Mr. Bean, and I think with the beat of the music and the camera zooming in and out, they're showing immense discipline of a dog with a treat on their nose.
Let him have the treat.
All right, so that's a regular video. We'll try this one now. No treat when you're so cute. Again, maybe a popular sound or music being used. Feels like a pretty similar idea.
Yeah.
Almost identical, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So I was kind of afraid of that given the thumbnails of these videos. I watch a lot of pet channels on shorts, and the shorts algorithm is trained to keep me glued to it with cat videos as much as possible. And it works. The difference between the cat videos that I watch and these videos is that there's always something like a little more intentional going on. I think it's cool that you have a dog that is, trained to not eat treats you put on his snout. It's cute. But I don't think that can hold an entire channel. I think what would be really interesting is showing different tricks. And I also think it's okay if you're like, well, my dog doesn't know a lot of tricks. You can also chronicle the journey of trying to train your dog with new tricks and stuff. There's a lot of shorts like that where animals are being trained by their owners to do things. So I would like to see, I think people who subscribe to these channels like to see the kind of like journey that the pet and the pet owner kind of go on together, as like, especially the button training for cats and dogs. It's always interesting to see, like, when you start watching them, there's only a few buttons in play. And then like, as you get to like later months and stuff down the road, the animals can push all kinds of buttons and say all kinds of words with them. And it's very impressive. So that's like one example. I would just say that it'd be cool to see you do more. And then the last thing I want to say is, with the camera just bouncing in and out like that to the music is very jarring. It's maybe other people are fine with that. I don't like that personally, but that's just me.
Let me present to you then Exhibit B, Dan, which is this one, King China Dog thing. King China. more music.
Okay.
Do you think this is maybe a little bit of a development now? They're tossing hats into the air and then the treat. That could be the signature. They always end with a treat on the nose at some point. Well, I think that's pretty cool.
It's cute. I just want to. I don't know. I guess I just want to see more. I really think this creator is obviously like very passionate about this. I really think they should keep experimenting, because if I made this many videos and kept getting pretty consistent amounts of views like this, I'd be like, okay, I kind of figured out the formula for getting 2,000 views. What's next? I would be hungry for more. Like your dog is hungry for that treat you never give them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think given that, well, hang on, let's have this one. Leave me alone. Let's try this one down. This looks as if it might be completely different.
Okay.
I'm going to give him one more video. Got 6,000 views on this one. Let's have a listen. It's that same sound effect again. And it's a patting him on the head. I don't think my dog would like that. Okay.
Yeah, I think you should plan out some stuff a little more. I think you can do a lot more with your pet if this is the kind of content you want to make. It kind of looks like they're like, all right, time to make videos. So they get their phone out and they walk up to their dog and, okay, what are we do? They put a treat on his nose, pat on the head. I don't know. Plan your videos a little bit more. Let's like do some interesting different stuff.
You said that you're already a cats and dogs shorts aficionado. The algorithms tapped into you watching them all the time. Is there a channel you may recommend that I could take some inspiration and influence off? Maybe developing their shorts.
The channel, like I was mentioning, the buttons. I get more cat channels than dog channels. I would say the dog one though, Bunny, I think is the name. Bunny the dog, button dog, or something like that. That's a good one if you want to see what I'm talking about with like channels. Jeez, that dog knows a lot of words now. The channels that kind of like have this very specific intention behind their videos, like. The dog, like there's a camera set up. I think it might be motion activated or something. Yeah, sometimes they're just filming, but there's a camera set up pointed at the buttons, and if the dog says some words, they can potentially get a video out of that. Especially like they respond to the buttons. So the dog pushes the buttons that, hey, I want a treat or whatever, and then the people come in and go like, oh, okay, like here you go. It's a very interesting gimmick, I guess, if to minimize it. It's really impressive, but it's the hook of the whole channel. I think your channel could benefit from just like 10% of that. I don't even think it needs to be buttons. I just think every video should feel like a little more intentional. I think it's fun to do stuff like this once in a while, but just, what are we training your dog to do a new trick today? Did your dog do something cute? Fetching 10 different items. Maybe each item gets a little bit larger. I don't know. Like just try and think of some different ideas that you can do, and each short can have a little more like intent behind it.
Again, to put this into context, they have at this point 12 shorts on the channel. They've already got 200 subscribers. They've already had one. I would class this as a viral moment for them, like a short getting over 10,000 views is like a promising start. And they don't have any wasteful efforts on the channel, or all of the shorts are getting 1,000 views or more. And so I would let's just find out one more thing. How old is the channel? So April 7th, Dan. So they've been on YouTube exactly a month. I think there's what I should credit them for is like they are laser focused on making their dog the hero of this channel, and they're going to consistently give the audience cute dog content. I know you may devolve that into saying, yeah, this is just brain rot content, but there still, as you say, needs to be an intention and a consistency, and this creator has that already. I think, Dan, you're just encouraging the creators to have a bit more nuance, a little more uniqueness, and perhaps like starting to tease some storytelling into their shorts if they can.
One more example. My cat just jumped on my desk. If I made a short every single time that happened, I'd have a lot of shorts, but they'd be kind of the same. But I do think this could be a compilation where every time my cat jumps on my desk, right? Like, and then I have like 100 clips in one video of me getting different levels of annoyed at times when my cat jumps on my desk while I'm doing something. Like
every time
that's the difference.
Dan's cat jumps on his desk. All right. Let's have a look, Dan, at Prosperity Pass. Welcome to Prosperity Pass, from broke to bucking rich. 24 subscribers, 14 videos. This creator is at the beginning of their YouTube journey, and they have the following answers to our questions. They want to educate about budgeting in an entertaining manner because money is typically boring unless you're making it. What do you think is your biggest YouTube obstacle right now? Finding my audience because I'm not sure the style of my channel translates to the YouTube algorithm. What part of your channel do you want to focus on? The visuals are very different from my niche, but have I gone too far into left field? Also, my thumbnails, as my average click-through rate is under 3%. Dan, when we look at channels before we go live, you sent this channel, and then you don't often do this, but you sent the following message, which was, OMG, this channel is incredible, LOL. Expand, please.
Yes, I saw this channel, like when I go on the forum, I usually just type in like a random number. Today it was like 30. And this is the channel that popped up. And I'm like, well, my search is over. Because I just, like, it's one of those channels where as soon as you look at it, you know exactly what you're getting. And
do you know exactly what you're getting?
Well, from the forum post, they said they're a financial channel.
Yeah,
and they
from the forum post,
on it. And you look at the thumbnails, like, yeah, they're really committed to this aesthetic, right? So I do have a number of things to say in terms of advice for this channel, right. But I'm like excited. I'm hesitant as well, because I don't, what I say, I'm just going to preface everything with what we say here is like, I don't want to stifle this person's creativity. Sure. And I also think that like, it's totally fine to have I don't want to keep using the word gimmick. It's not, a gimmick is so like dismissive. But a theme.
When you said that, Dan, just pause, right? This is a very common phrase we use in wrestling. Like, what is the wrestler's gimmick? Yeah. And that is actually really important to give them a unique character and voice. Like, you think about Hulk Hogan, his is like one of the best gimmicks ever invented in sports entertainment. So like, it's kind of a flippant word to use, but there's a real importance to it.
Yeah. That's kind of, I'm trying to come from that place of like, it's good that you have like this theme that you're like committed to. So what I wanted to do is I watched that first video there. You can see I watched a little bit of it. And I already have like, I think a good example from that video itself of like where we can start this review. I will say though, this about section you just pulled up, I personally believe that was written by AI just because of the sheer amount of puns in it. And that was actually, yeah, I wanted to say this too. I think that that's fine, but when it comes to giving financial advice, as you'll see in a moment, this creator comes across very honest and down to earth. And I think it's about building trust. And if anyone else looks at this and goes, oh, they had AI write their about section, and maybe that starts to diminish that a little bit. And because it's such a sensitive subject like financial advice, I don't know. I'm just going to point that out. Like maybe if I'm right or if I'm wrong, either way, I think there should be a little more about you as a person. Why did you make this channel? Because you must be going through or have gone through some kind of journey and evolution to get to this point where you want to help people. And that would be really interesting to see in your about section. But let's look at that first video. I think, maybe you'll see some things I saw.
Can I just give an observation before we jump in?
Yeah.
I think because they're using a certain style and theme and, for want of a better word, a gimmick. What worries me a little bit is if you package it so strongly in this, let's just call it Wild West style, I'm a little worried that it comes off as perhaps educational content for children. Now, I might be wrong about this. And looking at like $51,000 a year family of four, that kind of gives me an idea, but this is probably for like adults. But because because this style is so strongly visualized, it's like when I'm just scrolling, I think, oh, this must be either something about Westerns or like, oh, this is trying to teach children money budgeting in kind of a cute way. But actually, that doesn't seem to be the case. I think when we try and decode the content. Anyway, you want us to watch this video here? This one that's just gone live? Okay. Well, let me just rewind it and we'll see the hook.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Buck Steele. Now, this ain't a lesson from a textbook, but rather a lesson from the trail, my trail. And if you're riding through hard times yourself, just know that there is a way through. I ain't rich, but I could stretch a dollar further than a tumbleweed in a windstorm. I support a family of 4 on a $51,000 a year income.
Pause it right there.
So my first thoughts about this was that the intro starts pretty slow.
Yeah.
I like the title a lot. How we survive on only 51K per year. I think that's great. I think that's a great title. But the intro felt, because the theme goes beyond, as you've seen now, the about section and the thumbnails and the outfit. They're trying to also speak to you as if you just rolled up on them. Like, they just kind of like rode up to you on their horse, right? And they're just like, let me tell you a little bit about, saving some money. And I think that's fine as a vibe, but it's just, it has that feeling of like, I would really like to get into like the meat and potatoes of this video like a lot quicker. And if I tell you, Rob, to go to the next chapter, like, you will see what I believe is the perfect intro for this video.
So it's survival, do we mean?
Yes, survival.
Right, okay, right. So let me just go back there. Okay, let's get into it.
Now I share those changes with you. Here's the thing that most people don't tell you when you don't make a lot of money. Budgeting, it ain't optional. It's survival.
Pause.
I think you're right. That could be the impactful hook statement, couldn't it? Yeah.
That was the moment where I felt like this creator was the most relatable. Like, and I think that moment should be at the very front of the video. And I think what we saw at the beginning of the video should actually be at the end, when you're saying like, I can stretch a dollar, et cetera, et cetera. That feels like a good wrap up for the video. And that, what you just said there is like, if anybody is struggling and they are budgeting really hard, someone saying like, it's not optional, it's survival, is like, yes, that's how I feel.
Very relatable. Yeah.
Yes. And that is when we talk about being relatable, it's not like, oh, you're not going to be relatable because we're a cowboy hat. That's not at all like what it is. It's like, no, like, it's the things you're saying. Like, can you relate to the audience you're trying to captivate? And I really think that was the moment where I'm like, yes, like, perfect way to intro a video. And I really feel like that should have been like the start of that video.
So just mousing over some of the other thumbnails, they have, looks as if they have 2 scenes. This one whereby they are just sat on a bench with a wall, and then what looks to be actually a dedicated studio.
Howdy, folks. Sheriff Buck Steele here with a public service announcement for the fine folks of Prosperity Pass riding that budgeting trail. Now, most trackers out there, they for track and saving. But what if I told you that was only half the story? Today, I'm leading a tracker revolution, showing you.
I'm curious because they have a bit of a death stare at the camera, like they're looking intently at the lens all of the time. I'm wondering if they're reading off an auto cue. I might be wrong about that, but yeah, I'm just gonna take away the audio and just look. The eyes are always at the camera on this one, and that can start to feel a little uncomfortable from a viewer's point of view. Like, he's staring into my soul. It kind of feels like it.
So,
but anyway, like, cool backdrop.
Yeah,
I'm a bit thrown by these things. These are the things they're trying to acquire for themselves. They want to buy a John Deere motor and want to go on a vacation. Are these things that they're going to put up in their back wall as they accomplish them? Interesting idea.
I didn't think about that. That's interesting. I like that. So it like allows people to follow like on their journey, right? Like, I'm saving up right now, and this is how I'm going to do it for the specific thing that I need. So I think we should get to basic title thumbnail strategy, because there's, I think, a lot of stuff we can talk about that would be very beneficial. The first thing being that the title of the video we just watched. I got to be honest, I don't know what a tracker is, like, at all. I just don't know in what context. I know I've seen that word before, but it's just not in this context. So I would be careful about titling your videos. I make one post for saving goals. Perfect. Yeah, cool. I think, and keeping those in your video helps people like learn more about you, and they can follow along, and you can give them updates. Like, by the way, like, this is where I'm at with this goal.
Let's just quickly point out, I think this is a video where they introduce that they want to save for a John Deere mower. Again, my concern is at this point in the packaging, do I, the viewer, care enough about your savings goal? I think this needs to be generalized a bit more in, for not want of a better word of title at the moment, in terms of like SEO and search space. It would be like how to create the perfect savings goals to get anything you want. And then you would use the context of a mower or a tractor once somebody's in the video. But just this up front and center, and kind of I feel as if I'm going to be disengaged because I want to save up to buy a new camera or Grand Theft Auto 6 when it finally comes out. I'm not necessarily interested in this mower. So maybe I think this though, this is much more relatable. Like a family of 4 living on this budget, that is something that many people can relate to. Yes. Sorry, Dan, I just noticed this thumbnail and that when we were talking about the goals, it kind of feels as if it might be niching down a little bit too much in terms of aspirations for the ideal viewer.
Yeah, that video very much feels like a more personal video. Like this is something I'm saving for. And that can be valuable, but people are inherently, they're a little more focused on themselves. And so like you said, what if the mower was just one thing in the thumbnail and they kind of surrounded themselves with some expensive items, a mower, a car, a house, and that would communicate the message of savings goals for anything. Like I love that title you suggested, like, how to save for anything you want, and then putting something expensive in the background is like that clue to like, this person's going to help me save up for my first down payment. That's pretty cool. So yeah, think about your content, in my opinion, could be helpful to anybody who's trying to save money, which is a lot of people. Figuring out the right title and thumbnail strategy for them, for anybody to watch, is very important. I'm sure, Rob, you feel the same way, but we got to talk about the font. That was the last thing I wanted to touch on myself.
To be honest, I thought it was actually not that bad, just because I guess it contrasts with the orange background, black versus orange. It's fine, and I understand why they're using that font to match the aesthetic of the content. But I guess you're less inclined to like this font. You want something else, maybe?
I'm kind of on board with, like, it's readable, but the more words they put on the thumbnail, the harder it is to read. Yeah. That can be true of many fonts. It's just this one is so stylized. And then I would say my least favorite thumbnail is probably that top middle one there, track your debt and habits.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah,
like I don't know what that is, and so it's I think because they're committed to the theme, it's maybe the software they're talking about. Because it says downloads in the title, because they're committed to that theme, though, they can't really show the software on. Maybe it's a spreadsheet. It's like, well, this looks too high tech for my aesthetic, so I have to go with like a more Western theme looking spreadsheet. I get maybe that's what's going on there, but really, like, recognizability, like we were talking about with the gaming channels earlier, is super important for people. So they need to be able to see something and go, oh, that's a video about saving money. So I know this is what I was saying about, I don't want to stifle this person's creativity. But it's just super, 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 super important that your video communicates that very clear message.
Yeah. I think what both Dan and I are very keen to stress is like this. I don't know if it is a character or it is just you embracing yourself and your. I use this word very encouragingly, like your unique brand of weirdness. Like everybody has their own kind of weirdness on YouTube, and you are leaning hard into that. And like, I don't think Dan or I have a problem with this at all whatsoever. I think it's going to be your unique, cannot replicate approach to financial advice on YouTube. It's more the particulars of the packaging and like the editing and some of maybe the use of AI in some of the videos that we're kind of trying to tweak a little bit to make it more accessible to a broader audience.
Yeah, but I think you're on the right track overall. I mean, when I think finance channels, I think people who are going to show me the expensive car they just bought and the big mansion, and they're like, you can have this too. And that always feels like such a far off dream when really what I might respond more to is like, hey, this is the salary we're working with, and this is how to budget it for all of these things in life. And that's what you're doing. It's just very down to earth, and it's not over promising anything. And it just seems overall through and through really helpful and genuinely valuable.
Just again, looking at the most approachable and relatable title ideas, how we survive on blank per year. I like that as an idea. I also saw the short, living paycheck to paycheck. That again is something that's very relatable. But new John Deere savings goal, that has a lot less opportunity to reach a broad audience. Just think about the communication to your ideal viewer and what's really important and powerful to them. But other than that, keep on booking. That's the best I can come up with.
I know I keep saying one last thing for this channel, but I just realized too, like this is the perfect kind of channel to be talking about like tariffs and things like that, especially when it comes to tractors and stuff. If anything's made overseas, like I like I was saying earlier, I'm getting into retro games. There's a company that makes these controllers, and they're not shipping to the US anymore. There's other companies that make special handheld consoles, and they are putting massive upcharges now because they have to. And stuff is just getting more expensive because of the world around us. It's a more timely video, but I do think if you were thinking about a trend, that's kind of like the lowest hanging fruit right now is essentials that are now too expensive and what you're going to do about them. But not that I mentioned anything a minute ago that was an essential at all, but you know what I mean?
Nice, Dan. And a cool channel we have there. We will do a little bit of housekeeping now, which means it's been a while since I've done this. I'll change the background. I'll add a bit of music, and we'll go through some super chats. I just need to change the background audio and all of that stuff. Right. So the super chats are as follows. We have a new member here, Marta Lopez. You always get unique sound effects when you become a member, and this is yours for this week, Marta.
Bruh.
And also Slavgard Manga, who's been a member now for 13 months, but also one of our amazing moderators. You can have this week, Slavgard. We've also got One Body in Christ, who's just become a new member. That is wow for you. We got a super chat here from Ultimate Letdown. Me? ? Hope it doesn't let you down. Thanks, Dan. Working in tandem there. That was synergy from Dan and myself there. Another super chat here from Lovely Fishing Rod. Do shorts have stable RPM or vary like long form videos? That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I would say, given my experience, so this is purely anecdotal, it appears to be more stable because you're sharing the ad revenue with other videos that have appeared in people's feed. So I'm guessing it's more about regions where the content is watched as opposed to the topic of each individual video, the niche of a video. I could be wrong about that. But for us, vidIQ, the RPMs tend to range between 10 to 15 cents every 1,000 views.
Higher than it used to be.
Dan, I know you've been doing gaming shorts. Have you noticed a difference or an increase in RPMs?
I can look real quick. I feel like with the RPM you just mentioned, I feel like back in the day we were talking about 4 cents and 7 cents.
Oh, yeah. It's gone up like 300% in the last 2 years, which is great.
Yeah.
But it's still tiny.
It's still very tiny. I'm trying to look just real quick and at my revenue tab just to see shorts. It looks like my RPM on average is about 22 cents. So that's not bad.
Okay. Super chat here. Jace, no, it wasn't a super chat here. I think our vidIQ overlord has just highlighted this to tell us off, basically. Jace Herod, was no thumbnail on the stream done on purpose? No, it wasn't. I completely forgot. Whoops.
You know what? I think that means we're getting the live thumbnails. Right?
Yeah,
like
which is fine.
It should just look like this now.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I solemnly swear is a new member. I don't know why you hung up on us now. Please keep watching. And Prosperity Pass, just saying, thank you for the advice. I appreciate it, fellas. It's the best accent I could do.
You did good.
There's tumbleweed and there's crickets. No one appreciated that. So instead, you know what we're going to do?
The super chat?
Oh, thanks, Dan. Does that just come in?
Yeah.
What are your views on YouTube Create? Is it good? I don't know if I've ever had access to it.
That's the app, right? That's like a whole different app. I tried it the other day to see, because I was trying to make a short just using their tools. It was like a challenge to myself, and I gave up. I'm like, wait, there's the YouTube Create app. I still gave up. I didn't like it. So personally, I don't get it, but maybe because I'm just super old.
Yeah, Dan and I, when it comes to being creatives, are absolute dinosaurs where we need the most powerful PCs to do anything. Like, we can only use really complex editing machines. I am trying to use the tools integrated into Shorts a little bit more, and I'm getting the hang of them, but I've never used a Create tool. There is maybe the potential for a happy medium where there is a browser-based editor. Like, I'm sure I saw this in a YouTube update like a year ago on one screenshot, but I've not seen anything since. But I know it's free, so give it a try, and I'm sure YouTube will appreciate you using that. Have we got any more super chats now, Dan, or are we good?
I don't see any more.
Great. Then I'll press this button. Oh, that sounded a little loud on my side. I apologize if it was. But anyway, when I'm the host of a live stream, we get to enjoy the claw, and this is how it operates. There are now 200 submissions exactly on the non-gaming form. I've already keyed in 200 to our machine, which will now pick out a number. And that feels fairly random to me, and Dan is so disgusted he's left the live stream. So I will pick 140, and we will take this channel and go straight to it there. And just to give you a little bit of a disclaimer, we are encountering these channels for the first time. We have no preconceived ideas, notions, or understanding of what the channel is about. We are relying on you. Pretend we are a new viewer visiting the channel. And their goal is to help people edit through tutorials and tools. Their biggest obstacle right now is watch time and being comfortable on camera, okay? And the things we should focus on are retention, they need more watch hours, overall video formatting, and storytelling. So Sleeveless Studios, they're well on their way to 1,000 subscribers. Looks to me like a DaVinci Resolve tutorial channel just from the icon. I think that's always effective to have that in there. Makes it nice and easy for me to know if I'm in the right place for the particular video editor.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is that you are not the first editing channel to focus on DaVinci Resolve. So there is that challenge that you're already moving into a competitive, potentially saturated markets.
Yeah.
And then I will ask you, Dan, for any observations that you can see here.
General thumbnail advice to me, I feel like you're using a lot of different templates and styles.
Yeah, lack of consistency a little bit here, isn't there?
Yeah, we haven't quite settled on like any particular style.
Font, yeah, different fonts.
Yeah. It's
color styles.
In this particular page of YouTube, it's just a little distracting. Maybe on their own, they're fine. And then the other thing I was going to say for video ideas, one solid one, I think, if you haven't done it already, is you should definitely do comparisons of DaVinci with other editing tools, and in particular, CapCut. I know that tool has only gotten more and more expensive as time has gone on. And people I've seen on Reddit asking, they're like, "What are alternatives here? I can't afford this." And everyone is always like DaVinci, even though I don't even think they have a mobile editing tool, but it's free.
More of these then, Dan.
Oh, they did one. Nice. Yes, that stuff like that I think is helpful. And look, it got pretty decent amount of views for them. But yeah, maybe what do you think? They talked about retention, things like that. That's what they asked about. Maybe we watch something.
Sure, we'll do. Two things I just want to point out. I think just looking at the range of thumbnails they have here, I like this style of thumbnail. I think is a potential template, like comparing. I think one of your buckets is different editing techniques from different creators. I think that's a cool idea, how to show how creators do different styles and techniques through editing. But I like this style. I think that could be replicated somewhat. And you've done it as well down here. Like one of these types of thumbnails, unless those thumbnails are trying to match the style of the creator as well, and maybe some influence there.
Yeah, they look very professional, and I noticed those as well. I was kind of gravitating towards those and kind of wishing that all of them looked a little more, you know, in that style, basically. And
the other thing I would mention is, again, because this is a really competitive space, the one thing you maybe have a capacity to do is respond to changes and updates to the software like anybody else, but do it faster. So like if there's a big change from like 1.8 to 1.9, which significantly changes how you trim content, or like, you'll know better than me what changes are made to this editing tool and how it makes an impact on the creators. Try to react to them as quickly as possible.
Oh yeah.
But again, just from a critical point of view, good thumbnail. This, just when I look at it immediately, it looks like it's a music video.
That's what it
so
says.
Different. Oh, so it's an edit of a music video, but that feels like a complete departure.
It does.
From everything else I'm seeing on the channel a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that should be on a different channel where...
Oh, it's a contest, so that's just their submission maybe, because it's only 46 seconds long as well.
Yeah, and if that's what it is, it really should be on another channel. Like the people running the contest, if they want to look into you, maybe they see that other channel links back to this one, but it's just such a departure. Yeah, this is like a good example of a video that should not have been on the main channel, in my opinion.
All right, let's watch this most recent video about Devin Jaffo's viral formula.
Piece of work, but his editing style is viral gold. Beginner or intermediate editor, you're looking to take your work up a notch, you're in the right spot. Today I'm going to break down his secret sauce, his 3-part visual hook, dynamic subtitles, and his unique storytelling format. You don't need to buy his courses. It's really easy and a great way to add some fire to your videos. Devin always kicks.
I'm going to pause it right there. That was a 20-second hook intro. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty solid. They're demonstrating their editing technique. They're explaining what they're going to talk about in the video. I don't know. You stopped it here, but it sounded like they were going to continue carrying on with the hook part. It feels like I got everything I need, and I'm ready to watch.
Maybe too long.
It's off with a text-based hook. Check out my clip, for example. So my hook is...
I think he's going to me there. I think he started explaining what he's doing.
All right, yeah, you're definitely into it by then. So no, yeah, I think this is a really good demonstration of your skill set and also the topic at hand.
I've got an interesting question for you here, Dan. Like, usually, I don't want to talk about a creator's setup so much because it's not that important, but the editing is really sharp here. And I think actually their script, or like the way they've structured this hook, is quite powerful. But this setup feels a little bland, or like the lighting doesn't look quite right, or it doesn't look as if it's been built in a way that's very aesthetically pleasing. And I'm wondering if that just holds back the quality of the videos, and maybe they either create a blank background so that they cut themselves out of this, so that they remove a background, so they're maybe talking and it's like a green screen canvas. They can use whatever canvas they want, or we're just hearing the voiceover narration and they're really focusing on the editing skills. And then when they go into the details, they're maybe just like here, they're just in one of the corners, like talking as they edit, type of thing.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I don't know if it's the setup for me or not, but I can definitely sense that they've put a lot of like a special treatment on their video.
This framing looks weird. And
the framing in this one is weird. Yeah. Like they're not, they need to be higher up in the frame.
And these pictures,
yeah.
It feels as if it's holding the whole production value back a little bit. And I think it's important when it's an editing tutorial film creating channel, but there are easy ways to fix this.
Yeah, I really do. I don't know. I know it might be a stylistic choice, but I really do feel like there's a lot of negative space above them in that frame. But I want to
Mm.
say, like, I really do think also they're putting a color treatment on the videos because they want a certain vibe, but it really makes it look like the whole thing was shot in log and edited very little or not at all when it comes to like log footage. It's very raw. It needs a lot of treatment. And like this setup here.
Yeah, I don't know who this is, but this is what I mean. This is kind of like more of the expectation from this type of channel.
Yeah, and the way this color looks is like they're in a pretty gray room, but that green is really popping off the background, and that could be something too. Like maybe it's like a more vibrant color that you wear. I don't know, but I'm with you. I do feel like there's more that could be done visually there.
Maybe it matches our criticisms about the thumbnails as well. It was just something not right about these thumbnails. They look like they're inconsistent, or that there's too much going on. There's too much color, and that kind of bleeds into the in real life filming setup as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just everything about the aesthetic could be upgraded a bit. But if that's the worst problem they have, they're in a pretty good spot.
True. Fair point. All right. That is Sleeveless Studio. We didn't touch too much on their talking to camera. So like as I pick another channel down, like, is there any basic piece of advice we can throw them a bone on that one a little bit?
They come across really confident to me. I think I was more distracted by some of the other things we were pointing out. I think
True.
presence is solid.
Okay, channel 151 from the gaming channels. I need to do a bit of cleanup here, or else I'm going to be picking from the wrong form. I think this is a gaming channel, right? It's 154 and 153. All right, this is a gaming channel. Sorry?
They're different because they pay a thumbnail artist sometimes. So I can kind of see why they've been why they're so dramatically different at times. I'm going to assume the thumbnail artist is maybe the one doing the ones we liked, or maybe I don't know. I don't want to speak to anyone's skill set, but it'd be good to get some consistency there either way.
I present to you next, Dan, Mystic Mineshaft, and they want to make YouTube a job or a side hustle. Biggest obstacle: retention and hooks, and they want us to look at retention, hooks, and thumbnails. Let's start with the thumbnails then. 166 videos, so they've been at this for a little while now. 70 subscribers, and I'm seeing Minecraft content, I think predominantly, but with very little traction in terms of views. Like the last 4 here have not really cracked 10 views or more.
Yeah, I would say my favorite thumbnail is that top middle one there with the 2 boxes and the arrows pointing, because it looks like it's trying to say something super clear. A lot of the other thumbnails, again, a little bit of inconsistency. Sometimes they're ultra stylized, and sometimes they're just kind of screenshots with some text on them. Sometimes they look like literally just screenshots from the game itself. So, I would say, again, this is a channel that could benefit from thumbnail consistency quite a bit. But I know they didn't want us to spend too much time on thumbnails.
Yeah, so they're doing Let's Plays from survival adventures to creative builds. I'm asking as a layman here, do we see this breadth of content on most mine channels going from Let's Plays? Going from survival adventures to creative builds? Are those 2 niches within Minecraft that don't necessarily have a crossover?
I think so. I think that if you can build something really impressive while you're also trying to survive the harsh elements, there's something to that for sure, especially hardcore. Hardcore is really fun to watch because usually the worlds build up quite a bit, but the risk continues to go higher and higher the more you get attached to it. So yeah, I think those 2 things kind of like go together.
Just looking quickly on shorts, some of these shorts have no views, and I'm always utterly confused by this, because if there's no views, then YouTube is not literally given this content any impressions.
Yeah.
Whereas there's one here with like 1,700 views. So I'm a little thrown by that, but we'll focus on long form.
They could be uploading like many a day. Some of those looked very templatized, like Opus Clip kind of style.
Let's just see when this one was published. So this one's got a view now. Congratulations. And that was April the 22nd. So I don't,
okay.
I don't think they're that frequent. But anyway, let's pick a long form video. Which one would you like me to?
Let's do maybe that one. It has 11 views, the one I pointed at with the thumbnail I liked.
Misoma Electra, the fastest way to soar in Minecraft.
I don't know what that first word is.
It's my last Electra, and I think you know what it means. Let's see if I lose it. But first, we need to prepare.
Did I miss what the goal of this was at the beginning? I didn't quite
I think
get
they're
it.
trying to get the elytra, which is a rare item that lets you fly. So worthwhile to get, but I couldn't tell if this is in another language or
I don't think so.
I recognize some of the words, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's fully English. It's just it was hard to understand quite a bit, and I think the editing was kind of cool, but it just didn't. We didn't get like enough of a hey, this is what we're doing today, kind of like hook.
Yep, certainly. Yep.
And when we talk about retention, that's really what makes people click off. I think is the video living up to what they clicked on, and that could mean a lot of things for a lot of people. Is it easy to understand in this case? And I think I would have probably clicked off because it just started in such a weird, kind of jarring way that I don't see a whole lot, and I don't want to criticize their choices too much.
Welcome back to the episode of Minecraft. This is your host, Mr. Gomaja. So in today's episode, we're gonna make a storage system, and that's behind this wall here. We're gonna dig out a giant room.
What are those noises in the background?
That sounds like a villager farm or something.
All right,
They've captured a lot of villagers, and they're back there trying to get out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think this is one of the rare times I'll say I would like to hear a better microphone. I think it's time to give that upgrade, get that upgrade for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, unless we have it on like high speed or something, I would be careful about just like your enunciation. I think you maybe speak a little fast, and it's just a struggle for me. But then again, the microphone is not great and the audio is kind of quiet for me, so maybe that's why I'm feeling that way.
All right. Thank you for the audit there, Dan. We're going to move to channel 68 in the non-gaming form. And we are going to look at Voven. Be right back. I hope you're here now. I hope you haven't just left the audit. You're going to be right back. And then come in right at the end of the audit and say, did they audit my channel? Because what we'll do is we'll delete that bit if you're not here. I don't know how we'll do that. We'll figure it out. Anyway, what is the goal of the channel? To get to a point where viewers watch no matter what I upload. All right. That is... I understand the desire to do that.
Yeah.
It becomes where the creator becomes the core reason to watch. What do you think is your biggest YouTube obstacle? I'm unsure if my videos are good enough to be a big YouTuber because of impressions flatlining often, but the overall feedback comments is positive. What part of the channel do you want us to focus on? Video concepts. Some are direct parodies of other popular videos and the editing within them. All right. Some interesting stuff to look at here then, Dan. Let's have a look. I asked ChatGPT to make a funny video. When your friend is good at everything, types of YouTube outros, YouTube bots be like. I think that is actually quite funny now because we often get silly comments like that as soon as we publish a video. It can be quite annoying.
I think that one's pretty relatable, both for viewers and for YouTubers. It did very, very well for them. Okay, so my question would be, yeah.
Which one are you looking at?
Small channels unite here, which we get that all the time. It's so funny.
Yeah. First.
Yeah.
You're still lucky we haven't banned that from our YouTube comments yet.
I'm noticing like the videos that pop off are the ones that have the most relatability to the widest amount of people, which makes sense. So YouTube's algorithm be like, and that's a pretty funny graph that you've made. And then the comments, of course. Wow, they have a
all right, yeah. So
a banger.
Hey everyone. I think this is what the challenge is, that they're taking video concepts from all sorts of genres and forms of entertainment and trying to put them into a cement mix of their own channel. But what seems to be shouting from the rooftops here is that when you lean into YouTube culture, about ads in 2050 and the way the subscribe button works now and YouTube Premium, that is your absolute superpower. So I think always using that as the megaphone in the packaging is what I would be looking at from a top-down view. That seems to be like the most interesting thing here. That ChatGPT a little bit disconnected. When you don't have a date on Valentine's, again, it's not connected directly to the YouTube culture and themes and so on. 10-minute workout, same thing. In fact, you're jumping from topic interest to topic interest, where YouTube, I think, is absolutely your superpower.
Yeah, I get the workout one is kind of a YouTubey one because it says video. I get where you're going with, but that could have been presented in a more YouTubey way. That it seems like you are really engrossed in YouTube culture quite a bit. And I agree with Rob. I think this should be the through line to your channel. I know you said you want to be the through line for your channel, and that's great, and you will be. But even channels that we watch that feel like they can do anything, if you really study what they're doing, they have a consistent thing they're tending to do video after video after video. I watch a lot of creators that I feel like could get away with doing whatever they want, and yet there's always so I mentioned Doug a lot. He plays games on Twitch, so he could play any game he wants, or he can, but not really. Like, he plays games where his chat kind of controls the narrative, and that in itself is the through line to the channel. It's definitely not this person can do whatever. Maybe they'll be successful doing something else, but I think they're the most successful when they're sticking to that core thing. So you already have, I think, a pretty broad type of video you can make at your disposal here. And sometimes you're not doing that type of video, and I think that's why we're seeing the spiky views.
Perhaps another criticism might be this is cool that you've worked out how to do it, because I've wondered for years how Tom Scott did this. But just from a packaging point of view, it looks as if you have just copied and pasted the video, and when it's done once, it's unique and interesting. When it's done again, I'm not sure how interesting it is. Maybe if a packaging was about how you can do this on your channel, I'm not sure whether you are supposed to do it though, because you might be, quote unquote, hacking into YouTube's API to do this. Having said all of that, I want to watch this video, or I want to watch the first 30 seconds of it. Just I'm just ready to be entertained. Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, just finished working on my newest video, fully inspired by Mr. Beast, including his editing, title, thumbnail, storytelling, production quality, everything. I know I'm a small channel, but surely this video will go viral, right? I mean, it's basically an actual Mr. Beast video, just on my channel.
Is it not kind of answering his own challenge and problem here, where if he's literally just using the claw to pick ideas from other people's channels and then put them on his own, they don't necessarily translate to views or an audience?
It's kind of ironic.
Purely by chance.
Yeah. I like the editing and I like the vibe.
Yeah, I do.
Your sense of humor is really shining through. And I think your channel, to me, even if you were to depart from YouTube a little bit, it's just that kind of what's the word? The comedy you're doing, the observational comedy you're doing about YouTube and YouTube adjacent things. You've made a lot of, just in that video alone and with the title, you've made a lot of very relatable observations, and that maybe that's your through line. It's always an observational kind of thing, but honing it down a little bit more to YouTube culture could help with a little more consistency in views. Maybe you branch out slowly from there. But I think I believe this about most channels on YouTube. If you just do one thing for a long time and just to get good at it, be niche out later, get all the YouTube fundamentals out of the way in this one category and branch out slowly over time. Don't just start by just throwing everything you have at the wall.
All right, I'm just going to check where we're at on Super Chats because I forgot to delete them earlier. How do I delete them now? Why? I thought it deleted them. What have I done wrong here? Let's do a quick cleanup here, Dan. I'm just doing this in the background. Actually, no, what I'll do is I'll pick another channel first and then I'll do that.
Well, I have a promo thing anyway, so we can just do that.
Go on then, Dan. Promo away.
Yes, on Thursday, we are doing a workshop in Discord. So if you would like to join us, I believe, Vicky, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you need vidIQ Boost. You'll be automatically put into the Boost section of our public Discord. And I will be there on Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern for a workshop about hooks and retention, which we've talked a lot about today. And so I'll answer your questions. It's going to be great.
I've just been doing this completely the wrong way. I've been deleting the comments rather than unstarring them by accident. I don't think there was any that we hadn't already done. So let's do this super chats now while I have it here. Split Plays. One of my channels, oh, you have multiple channels, cool, is almost at 1,000 subs. And only 95 subs away from monetization. Do you suggest I still post, or after it's done, I have already applied and accepted in the first threshold milestone?
What's that mean?
I'm not sure what the question is here.
It feels like they're asking, should they wait to post more videos until they get monetized so they can earn money from those videos?
And here's the other thing. If you've hit 500 subscribers and the other requirements, then you should have already been able to apply for the YouTube Partner Program and be accepted into it. I don't think you have to apply again to get ad revenue. It's just probably offered to you once you meet those requirements.
I would just say don't overthink it. Just make videos.
Yeah. I agree. Regardless of all the requirement stuff, just continue to make videos and have fun doing it.
Yeah, you'll be monetized, and then a year from now, you'll never even think about it again.
Ultimate letdown. I think editing is the hardest part of any video. Do we all agree?
I don't agree.
I enjoy it. I think it's the most time consuming.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I think it's different for everybody.
But I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. I think maybe it is for you. For me, it's coming up with like a solid idea and feeling confident in that idea. That's something I struggle with quite a bit. And then editing is that thing. I know how all the pieces fit together. Now I just got to take the time. So it's not difficult. It's time consuming. But that's how I feel about it. But everyone's going to have a different take.
All right, no more questions. Super chats, please. We ain't going to read them out, so please do not send us any more money. What we're going to try and do is some ultra-fast channel audits to get us through. So we're not even going to read out the questions. We're just going to try and like give you a 1-2 minute assessment and then move on to the next channel just to get a few more creators involved in the process here. So Dan, I am going to introduce to you the journey of yoga, approaching 500 subscribers, 130 videos. Let's just offer some feedback. I think they're doing a classic thumbnail that is appropriate for this genre, whereby they're in the middle of a position when they're doing the yoga. Mm-hmm. I think the text is perhaps a little hard to read because it's thin, and also the lined backgrounds can be a bit distracting as well there.
Yeah, those lines, I was going to say, because the text is thin and the lines are thin and my eyes are trying to read it, but they don't want to. They're fighting me a little bit. That's the worst criticism I could say about the thumbnails or the packaging. It seems like they're doing a really good job with their titles. They're getting a pretty consistent view count a lot of the times, hundreds of views. And it looks like they are speaking to specific yoga positions and problems and things like that. So all of that stuff's firing on all cylinders.
I guess what I would say is like the thumbnails are fine, but I would say this is a really competitive space where the thumbnails tend to be like on another level in terms of quality. This is like where a lot of effort goes into like an interesting way to show the position and the text around it. Mm. So continue to work on those thumbnails. Certainly. These are some options for you to experiment with and look at, like just the lighting up, like this one as well, the contrast of the green. I know this one's got lines in it as well, but we can see that the background kind of helps, background of the text helps mask it as well there. And anything else we can think of there? Like they're doing 20-minute sessions. They tend to be...
I saw the word intros on their form. I know we weren't reading the form. Do we want to like 2 seconds just to...
All right. You want 2 seconds?
Hello,
1 second.
hello everyone.
2 seconds.
Welcome to this Yin Yoga class.
Is that only coming through the left channel of your headphone? Oh, you're not wearing speakers, are you?
No, but I believe you.
It was coming just through the left channel.
In today's class, we will work the full body. So we will work the shoulders, the back.
Or most of it's coming through the left channel.
The legs.
I don't know if anybody's going to be wearing headphones listening to this, though. They usually prop their phone up on their on a stand or something.
Be on their TV. But it's something to fix. It's easy to fix in your editing software. I appreciate the explanation, and I can already tell that they're doing a really good job of helping people get into the proper position, which is the hardest part of doing yoga. So that's, I mean, as a layman who doesn't do yoga, that's how I perceive as the hardest part. So yeah, no, they mentioned their intros. I think your intros are great. Yeah, this is just a really competitive space. I think new thumbnails will help a lot.
All right, let's move on to another channel. We'll do a gaming one this time. We now have 200 responses there. And we're going to pick out channel 183. Let's find a channel. Buluba. 60 subscribers, 64 videos. Hang on.
What?
Huh? Buluba. Let me just check that. Yeah, it is them. They've just got a completely different channel name. Reaper672.
So they mentioned, I just saw the word tags a whole bunch in their forum post. And so that kind of is important here because their videos, the way they're currently packaged, are not doing enough to bring in an audience, and they're feeling like maybe if I had better tags. I'm going to say
that's not it.
It's not it. Your thumbnails are very hard to see, first of all. Just very, very dark. You got cutscenes a lot of the time. You are playing games at this point that are, by gaming standards, very, very, very old. And a lot of people have gaming channels where they play through these specific games from front to back. And to stand out in the space, I mean, unfortunately, I think it's going to take more than doing a general walkthrough of a game that people have seen quite a bit of at this point.
This is a cutscene. This is a cutscene, essentially. There's no. I think they were pressing the controls at the very beginning, but there's not much transformation there,
right?
Beyond the original game,
right? Yeah, just putting up game cutscenes is not really going to help. But I don't think there's commentary.
Dan. 20 seconds, off-the-shelf gaming. Give us your most heartfelt, passionate opinions on this. I'll pick another channel in the meantime.
Off-the-shelf gaming. You went to GameStop, you bought the game, you put it in your console, you played the game. Well, that's exactly the same experience I can get at home. You, as a YouTuber, need to bring more. Give me tips about the game. Give me your opinions about the game. Make me laugh, make me cry, whatever it might be. That's why I watch people play on YouTube. Otherwise, I can play the game quietly in my living room on my own. That's always been my take on off-the-shelf gaming. But it's not tags. That's not the reason people are not watching. It's just because it's been done so many times.
Gerardo Mendoza with just 15 videos and 6,000 subscribers. There must be an outlier here then. Is it a short or what? Let's have a look. Oh, wow. 750,000 views. Wow. This is an interesting one, Dan, because if you look at the thumbnail, we might typically say that this is too complicated. There's too much going on, etc., etc., etc. But my guess is the reason these thumbnails work is because they stand out and look totally different to every type of thumbnail currently out there about, I guess, soccer or football technique and education. And it's a grand promise. Every type of footballer shot in 8 minutes explained. And it kind of gives you permission to have this kind of complex thumbnail where you're not really looking at the detail of a thumbnail. You're just saying, okay, that's lots of techniques and that's what's promised in the title. That's enough for me to click. And I think that's the reason why these, what might be complex thumbnails actually work in this case.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I see they double down on it. And they've kind of used that style in the last few weeks, which is awesome. And this is an interesting way to cover football because we've seen a lot of people when they are in this niche, they tend to just kind of play clips from like games. But you can use clips from games in a more transformative way where you're like, look what this player did here. Now, do you see that? That's this move. That's this technique. And they did it this way because of this reason and this strategy. Like that.
Close control.
feels really like strong to me. Like this is I don't know if you can still use this footage because sports is really weird about using their footage.
So, yeah, I think is this enough to make it transformational that they're putting themselves on camera for a little bit and then like they're talking about close control, like there's no sound audio.
This technique becomes your meaning that tight control.
It's all original audio.
And that's them doing it sometimes too.
Not so hard.
Yeah, so I think they're doing enough to make it transformative.
This is a stellar channel.
Yeah,
like they didn't even have that many videos. This is awesome. Wow.
What I would maybe recommend as well is you've got all of these videos of all of these every types of. You can take each individual one of them and turn them into shorts, and you can repurpose that content. And I think that again has the potential to get millions of views and just expand the reach of your content. But yeah, we've seen many football channels before, but not kind of covering it in this way. This is your superpower, the every type of this type of thumbnail. And you could do this so many times, like every last minute winner, or like every corner scored, like to change the balance of play. I need to think a little bit more. It's like we're 90 minutes into this live stream, but there are so many every types of footballing blank that you could do to follow on this format, and you're just gonna pile in the views and the community there.
Yeah, they don't need us.
we need you. Can you help us do this for our YouTube channel? All right, we've gone into a little bit of overtime or extra time. That is a football punt, of course. Dan, please, sound effect. You were quite quick there. Thank you very much. And that'll take us to the end of this live stream. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation we've had about your channels and the thumbnails and the titles and the hooks and the intros and the editing that we've been looking at this week. We will be back, as always, next week, where we will reverse roles. Dan will be the host, and I will be the one just sat there making funny jokes. In the meantime, Dan, let's just plug your session one more time. When is it? Where is it?
Thursday. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be... Yep, that's right. We're going to be doing a workshop on hooks and retention for our Boost users. So if you have vidIQ Boost, you already have access, or you should already have access to our Discord and the special section within that Discord for folks who have Boost. Or you can just join it for free, but we are doing the workshop in the paid side of the Discord, just so you know.
There it is from the vidIQ Overlord. Links there. Hopefully it's in the description. In the meantime, we'll wave awkwardly, and we'll see you next week for more channel auditing.